Greetings, Internet. It's Alex and Davey from Barefaced, and we have two Activier 110Ts up on stands. We've got a room mic out here, large diaphragm condenser. We've got some close mics here for a change in stereo. In the room, this sounds crazy stereo, obviously, so we're going to try and use the close mics to represent it. Davey has a guitar, although these are originally bass cabs, the 110Ts, but we've found they're rather good at guitar as well.
Yeah, really good. And even though it was something we were going to do anyway, somebody said in a comment on YouTube that this would be great as a stereo setup for an ambient rig for guitar, specifically when using pitch shifting, which is often the case when it comes to looping ambient guitar, because you want to be able to fill out a lot of space with one instrument, but a very densely packed pedal board.
To hell with the bassist.
Yes. So before, when we tried the Activier 110T with guitar, we were going into the Boss IR2, so digital amp and cabinet modeler. Today we're going into the DSM Humboldt Simplifier DLX, which is analog. So we're utilising the stereo, the left and right output, left and right respectively. Got my looper, which also has split signal looping going into the left and right channel of the send. Oh yeah, and then after that we've got a stereo tremolo. So we can also hear a bit of that, which is by Walrus Audio, the Monumental, going into the jam pedals, delay Llama Extreme, which has some really cool settings, and a kill dry, which I'll utilise in this. Black hole symmetry, which has fuzz, pitch shifting reverb, modulated delay, going into the pitchfork, which I'm going to use for fifth down pitch shifting, blending with my signal, but also going to try some octave down as well, maybe try it full blend just to see how that works. And then we've got the Machinist on there as well, which shows some fuzzy tones, some distorted tones using the parallel channel. Yeah, should we just crack straight on?
There's only 6 pedals on this board, plus a tuner and an extra switching box and the amp sim. It's incredibly complicated for 6 pedals, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
It does a lot. There's a lot of foot switches and knobs for the number of pedals.
So the Monumental, the Walrus Audio Stereo Tremolo, has 4 presets.
Right.
Which I'm going to flip between, and they might not be dialed in that well for this setup, but they have varying ideas. Some are panning. Most of them is probably panning, because I even though it's probably quite unnecessary for every track, it's nice to have that option to have your stereo tremolo going left and right. And there's also a really fun switch, the latch switch, which basically ramps up the speed.
Right.
So you set you tap your tempo out, and then you can hold it and you go. The Jam Pedals Delay Llama Extreme also has 4 presets: vibrato, tape age, random, and then an pitch shifting one.
Is the random one just a lucky dip? It just gives you what you fancy, or what it fancies.
Let me show you. This can be the first
noise.
First noise.
It is random, isn't it?
It's very, very random. So that's only for your freak out moments where maybe you don't actually want to make any sense, you just want to make some... Yeah.
It's like if Captain Beefheart designed a pedal.
Yeah, that's why I love it. And then so I've got a fuzz on the black hole symmetry, which I can't remember what it is. It's a very specific type of fuzz. I'll put it up on the screen now, exactly what it's called. They've made it into its own pedal. It is also just one knob, and it's just volume. So you can't really filter it, you can't change any other parameters for the fuzz.
Is that what the knob in the middle is?
The knob in the middle is just volume.
Right.
And that is the switch for it, and that's all you get with the fuzz.
Right, okay.
It's how it interacts
That's
with...
a bit like the fuzz on the jet phase, that which
Yes. But then it's how it interacts with the pitch shifting reverb and the modulated delay, because they're kind of going into the fuzz. So it's quite nice. That's more of like an effect fuzz. And then the Machinist is more of a
proper
loud, proper fuzz.
Proper fuzz.
Big muff circuit. And then the right channel, the overdrive distortion channel, is OCD, based on an OCD. Should we just go straight into it?
Yeah.
Nice. I'll get a loop going. Yeah. Cool.
That is cool, isn't it? It's very stereo from where I was standing.
It's such a cool setup, and if you want that that true stereo separation on stage, and you use these kind of effects, and yeah, with pitch shifting, specifically pitching down, it makes a lot of sense. Let's see what, I can't remember what I had the tweeter at. So I've got both up, which means it's basically tweeter full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sort of 3 dB boost on the tweeter, technically.
I think that made most sense.
Well, it seemed to, depending on... You seem to like it boosted. Louis seemed to like it cut a bit.
Yeah.
But I think it's because you're after different sounds.
Yeah, for sure. I think the one thing I really want to try, hence why I have the something with a tremolo arm, is like a My Bloody Valentine style soundscape wash. So maybe I'll try that. Cool. Yeah. It can do that as well.
It can.
Which,
It's interesting. This is another world to the music I do interact with.
yeah.
It's very it's soundtracky, soundscapey.
Yeah.
You can just see it. You suddenly realise how much of music like this gets used on TV and film because of the atmospheric power of it. Kind of like the modern equivalent of how we tend to use classical orchestral music in soundtracks.
Absolutely.
That's
yeah.
all. The Handmaid's Tale,
Yes.
full of that sort of interesting sonic noises, and they don't use traditional orchestral, music for it. It's interesting noises. What's the music I seem to almost entirely listen to and make? Has always got a pulse.
Yes.
Whether it's jazz or funk or metal or reggae or rock, it's always got disco. It's just
Yeah.
But then I realise I consume it as an art in a different form by watching things where it provides the musical
Okay.
and
Yeah.
sonic textures behind it. It's quite interesting watching you do it. Shoeless.
Oh yes.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. It's the only way. I mean,
Turning knobs with your feet. I was very impressed.
yeah. Whilst you have this many options, you might as well try and utilise them all in the moment. And
Well, also you don't have the requirement to keep the pocket happening, the pulse happening, which I do when I'm playing bass in my context.
yes.
I can't let the groove drop. So I don't have enough brain power to keep the groove happening whilst turning knobs with my feet.
Oh yeah. It's
They really it's just
yeah.
just expansive. Lovely. Detail, loads of detail.
Yes.
They do. I've always said this about our 10CRs, although we designed them as a bass driver. There's a lot of guitar speakery characteristics about them, and actually the original 10CR, which is what's in these, it was originally designed for a new version of our original 6x10 cab. Which I don't know if I told you about that.
No.
This was ages ago. We call it the 69er because the Ampeg 810 SVT pair came out in 1969. And what we did was we used 5 bass-ish drivers just off the shelf there, Eminence Alpha 10s, in a seal cab, so like an SVT 810, and 1 guitar driver.
Yeah.
So it had one guitar driver at the top, and then 5 bass drivers. It had that thing where the 3 left-hand drivers were low pass, so you had this column doing the mids and highs, but then 1 speaker at the top of that didn't do any lows, because it couldn't handle the lows. But that's what gave it the sort of detail and texture and vibe in the top end of the guitar speaker, because the speakers in the original 810s are much more like guitar speakers. I think an old 810 is rated at like 150 watts or something. So you were meant to use 2 with an SVT. And then the more recent 810s, they gradually over the years, they just made them more robust, the speakers with heavier cones and heavier voice calls. But they did lose some of that detail. And not necessarily sparkle, but heading up in that direction, that texture, that quickness, that lightness of thing. So when we developed the 10CR, I said to Jerry at Eminence, look, can we try and do something with a really light cone and squeeze a load of excursion out of it? So that's the route we went off on, and that's how we ended up with these. So they do have this light cone, light voice call, so low moving mass detail, and you get this sort of transient detail and dynamic detail, texture, which means that guitar, which is full of this detail, in the upper mid-range and lower treble, comes through.
Yeah.
And then where... the funny thing is, actually, I would say the 10CR almost reaches high enough on its own to do guitar without the tweeter, but having the tweeter there just helps spread it around the room and gets a bit more out. Because they can really move some air. I mean, that's the fun thing if you were using this. Because I imagine on stage, you wouldn't mess around with them on stands. You maybe stick them on something low, so they're not dead on the floor. They could be on the floor depending on where your stage height is and other stuff around. To be honest, if you're sharing the stage with a load of other bands, just stick them on top of whatever combos or backline is already sitting there. Just put them there so they're like, a foot or 2 off the ground.
Absolutely.
Because you don't need them up to ear level, the dispersion's good. And we are standing really close to them, so if you're on stage, you're going to be a bit further away. And then let them fill the space.
I guess just for smaller venues, especially if the idea is like the person that commented saying good for ambient guitar with pitch shifting and something that can carry the effects as well. in venues like that, they're not going to be huge venues necessarily. So it's quite nice. Like the venue that I play most shows is in Brighton is called the Rose Hill. It's quite a small stage, quite a small room.
Yeah.
And actually, even though the sound is great in there, and I think actually the PA setup that they have is very high quality, I imagine being on a stage like that with the steep, even though it would be coming through and it would be panned hard left and hard right, it'd be nice to actually have on a small stage like that, all the kind of stages you expect to hear ambient experimental music.
Yeah.
Having them actually placed on the stage like that.
Well, also small
great.
stages, the bleed off the stage is such a big part of the sound in the room.
Yeah.
So if you've got the stage sound stereo, then the room is much more, it's going to feel much more like the real thing.
Yeah.
You're not going to get this sort of blur.
Absolutely, yeah. Cool. I think I just changed the tweeter setting, so I put it on top one down.
So that's -3, so it's kind of flat.
Yeah, so this is kind of flat, octave down. Dial back the effects a bit so you can actually hear what it's like without. Then a little bit of delay and reverb. Definition in the low end, which is so nice because I like playing around with pitch shifting, and especially octave down can be really nice because even if you blend it in like a little, just a little bit, you can get like a nice extra bit of body.
Yeah.
Being able to push that and have a speaker that can actually handle it.
It doesn't go woolly. I think the irony is, I think if you have a speaker that can actually handle that lower octave better, you actually can potentially stay out of the bassist way more.
Yeah.
Because you're not generating a load of kind of upper mid bass noise and boom and stuff. Because a lot of the time, when you get distortion, it's frequency doubling essentially. So your lower octave then creates all these extra overtones anyway.
Yeah.
But then they distort, so that creates another load of overtones, and everything all ends up getting very muddy in that kind of 100 to 250 hertz realm. You just get a lot there. But if you can just actually reach down a bit, you could be down in bassist land, but the bassist can also claim a part of that thickness, fatness, thickness range in that 100 to 200 realm, but without it losing its transient ability and turning into a sort of wobbly mess.
Yeah, right.
A bit like how in metal the guitars are down tuning a lot of the time nowadays. They didn't used to, but there's a lot of really down tuned stuff and 7s and 8s and stuff like that. So they're reaching low. The bass goes lower, but then the bass comes through a bit more in the mid range. They leave a space for each other.
Yes.
So if you've got a speaker where your pitch shifting's letting you go under, then there's room for the bass to come up and through because you haven't filled that in kind of.
For sure.
What would happen if you stuck some of those sounds through say a 412, which has already got a big hump.
Yeah.
In that boomy realm, and you're just going to get a load more boom on top of that.
Yeah, and that is something that came up recently in a band practice, my band, where it's 3-piece. I obviously like playing around with pitch shifting effects. I try not to tread on the bassist's toes too much, but I think generally the tone, he's commented on the tone being a bit too low in points. And so even though be experimenting, well, very recently, and this will be another video as well, experimenting with Neo 250 copperbacks.
Yeah.
The nice low definition, but seem to be, it's mostly mid.
Yeah.
It means I can shape a tone that sounds more like a guitar tone, but it feels like it can hold an octave down. It can hold those low frequencies again without treading on the bassist's toes too much.
Well, Ben's playing a short scale, isn't he?
He is, yes. Yeah.
So they're fat, but they don't go as low. So you can end up almost trading spaces.
Yeah.
Because I think what people forget a lot of the time when they think a bass sounds deep when it's a low frequency. Yes, technically the lowest frequency of the note is low, but that's not really what matters. But what does matter for making to do what bass does is it moves air in a way that you can feel it.
Yeah.
And generally, guitar, even when you're down tuning like that, at all, with pitch shifting downwards, it doesn't go woomph. It doesn't lock in with a kick drum in the same way, not unless you're absolute metal chugging.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the bass does? So the guitar might have all this lowness, but it goes in a nice big way. What's the bass goes dum dum dum. It's just much more like a rhythmic instrument in those low frequencies. When a guitar tends to be rhythmic, it's when it's being rhythmic, it's more like how snare drum's rhythmic.
Yeah,
Does that make
I know
sense?
what you mean. No, exactly. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's why, maybe it's, well, I guess that's what happens in music. I mean, if you think of Motown or anything, but where essentially there's so much music where the rhythm guitar goes with the snare.
Yeah.
And the bass goes with the kick. So it's about where their rhythmic happenings happen to be. What's when guitar goes down?
Yeah.
Unless you're playing it like chuggy metal. It can be low, rumbly, but it's low like double basses can be in an orchestra when you're bowing them underneath things.
Absolutely.
There we are. Music philosophy.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, I think that covers nearly two. It covered the ambient stuff, it covered the low stuff. I think it sounds so good. It just sounds so nice.
They're just really nice do anything speakers, aren't they?
They're fantastic, yeah. So yeah, whether it be I think this is just, it would just be such a great home studio thing to have.
Oh God, yeah. Be really loud for the home studio.
And then if you were to get a stereo one, you just need a passive one to make it.
Yeah, so that works out cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've obviously we've got two monos at the moment, but we could very easily have a stereo backplate, mono passive as passive.
But it does mean so you've got potentially some sort of home studio rig, a stereo guitar rig, a bass rig that it's a 210 stack, so it's it's about as loud as a lot of 410s.
Absolutely, and then also for smaller gigs, bring that along, just one of them.
One of them, yeah.
God, yeah, it's just so versatile.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's the more we play around with it, even with guitar, almost forgotten how good it is for bass because it's just so good for guitar.
Do you know what we haven't done?
What?
Keys. Or pedal steel.
Oh, pedal steel.
Do we have anyone who plays keys competently?
I don't.
There are lots
so,
of us who
no.
can poke at a keyboard.
No.
Make some noises.
Actually, I'm not sure.
Because that's quite a satisfying keyboard amp. Not thought of it for that before. No. Keyboard amp. We've made a keyboard amp, everyone. And on that note,
yes.
On that bombshell.
On that bombshell. Nice. Let's go and find a keyboardist.
Yes.
Lovely.
Thank you. We'll be back. Do pop in if you're a keyboardist in Brighton.
Oh yeah. Shoot us a message.
Or someone on holiday in Brighton. Probably not in February. Goodbye.